Good afternoon, race fans, and welcome here to the season finale of the debut season of the NRSL Winston SuperSpeedway Series. It's time to crown a champion. We started off the playoffs with 12 drivers in contention, whittled it down to 8, and now we are down to our final 4 heading into today's race, 12 laps at Zen Joltis. The 4 drivers that are competing for the championship here today include Brenna Carmichael, 3-time winner Zach Rogers, Eli Bright, and Dallas McIntosh. Whoever finishes the highest in the running order of those drivers here today, barring any potential bonus points they might get for maybe leading a lap, that's who's going to win the championship here for this season. Now, if you'll notice, up here towards the front of the field, a couple of those drivers I just mentioned are actually starting inside of the top 10. Brenna Carmichael lining up on the outside of the front row alongside the pole sitter for today's race, Dylan Young. Carmichael starting second. Then you go a couple rows back there, starting 6th on the outside of row 3 is Zach Rogers. And then also a couple rows back, if you look in 10th place on the outside of row 5, that's where you find Eli Bright. If you look a little bit further back there, if you look back and you find the Richard Petty number 43 colors, just behind that is the Texaco Haviland number 28 of Dallas McIntosh. He is rolling off from the 30th position, so he's obviously starting this race when the green flag drops behind the 8 ball, but this is a track where you can make up a lot of ground very quickly.
Your engines!
Command to fire the engines has been given, and these cars will roll around here. It's not a complete full pace lap, because if we had a full pace lap here at Zen Joltis, it would take us forever to get to the green flag. But we have to keep in mind that while we have this battle for the championship going on, there are 38 other drivers in this field that all want to finish out the season with a win. They could care less who wins the championship. They just want to find victory lane here in this final race of the season. You got Dylan Young there, who has not been to victory lane yet this season. I mean, he would love to be able to put the number 2 in victory lane, try and get Penske their first win of the season. You got more drivers back behind him that haven't found victory lane yet, like Kyle Keith there in 3rd. You've got A Garcia in 4th. So, you know, there are so many different drivers with so many different agendas here today, and we're going to have to see how it all pans out in terms of the drivers here today and the finishing results. See the pace car there making a move down the low side, but this is not the front straightaway. They got to make it here through these corners before we get to the front straightaway. And like I said, this track is very spacious. We're going to see them going 3 wide, 4 wide, maybe even forcing the issue of 5 wide. We've even seen sometimes when we come here to St. Joltis, drivers going down and using the apron down below that yellow line, which is not really an out of bounds here. You can use that if you can keep your car down there, but we're going to have to see if these drivers do that here today in this one. All 4 of the competitors, Carmichael, Rogers, Bright, and McIntosh, come into this race tied with the points lead. None of those 4 drivers end up getting any wins during the second round of the chase, so they are all tied, which, like I said, means basically whoever finishes the highest of those 4 here today, at the end of this race, they're the ones that are going to be walking away with the championship. The clear favorite would probably have to be Zach Rogers, 3-time winner this season, but you never know. Carmichael, Bright, and McIntosh might have something up their sleeves. Brenna Carmichael and Eli Bright made it into the playoffs via points, and Dallas McIntosh was one of the 2 wildcard drivers to make it in, so definitely a big opportunity for McIntosh to try and win the first championship of this series as a wild card driver. But as we stated, he's starting back in the 30th position for this start, while the other 3 competitors are starting up inside of the top 10. Pace car, for the final time this season, will peel off onto pit road, and for the final time this season, the green flag is out. We're underway at Zen Joltis. Already 3 wide, almost 4 wide. They are going 4 wide. That's for 6th place. Ashlyn Boyd, who just recently got eliminated from the chase in the 16 down low with J Gardner, Charles Sandfer. I think that was A Garcia who was way up top side of that 4 wide formation, as good friends Dylan Young and Kyle Keith, one in a Ford, one in a Chevy. They're going to stretch out to first and second. They are 3 wide behind him, and look who's making some moves way up top side. That's the 24 of Zach Rogers. High side normally not the fastest way around the racetrack, especially in the corners. It can get a bit of a momentum streak down the straightaways, but Rogers kind of caught up in the line he doesn't want to be in right now. Brenna Carmichael also up on that outside line. As you can see, some drivers with 2 tires down on the yellow line, down on that apron. And right now we're focused on the driver right now of the 4 championship competitors that currently is the highest running, the number 8 of Eli Bright. Right now with Charles Sandfer, and these guys, they are flying around here. Look at Kyle Keith, and he is going in excess of 260 miles per hour as he completes the first lap in the lead. Zach Rogers made his way down to the bottom of the racetrack, and he's going to go all the way to the bottom. He was, I think, had all 4 tires down below that yellow line, trying to make up some ground there and trying to catch up to the 8 of Eli Bright. Trouble in the back! A couple of cars around. Steve Morgan in the 75, Zach Winkle in the 97. More drivers collected as well. I believe that was William Brock. Caution will fly for the first time here today. It's at Joltis. And I'm looking for our playoff drivers. Looks like McIntosh got through it. White is up here in this lead pack, as is Zach Rogers. Where's Brenna Carmichael? There's Carmichael at the tail end of the field, of this lead pack, I should say. So it looks like all 4 of our championship competitors are still in this thing, but we are going to be coming to the start-finish line to get our first caution of the day here on lap number 2. Here comes to the inside Isaac Nicholls in the 12, side by side with Kyle Keith. And look at this battle back here for third between playoff contenders Eli Bright and Zach Rogers. Who's going to win that battle as they're going to be racing it down here to the start-finish line? Looks like it's Eli Bright by maybe a splitter, as Nicholls got Kyle Keith at the line. He will lead us under our first caution of the day, and now we got to make sure that these drivers all are going to settle out here and get to single file without wrecking each other. And it looks like they're going to do a pretty good job of that. Nice to see that they're not going to have a follow-up wreck here under caution. But there is Bright, there is Rogers, Carmichael right there, and I'm pretty certain Dallas McIntosh got through it. I thought I saw his 28. There it is. And no visible damage on any of our 4 championship competitors, so that is at least good news. Last thing you want to see is an early wreck take out a championship contender, but now the question is, who did it take out? There's one of the cars I saw get involved in the wreck after the initial wreck began, and that's the 30 of William Brock. A lot of damage on his Chevy. Zach Flickinger, 2-time winner this season. He's been collected in it. Some right side damage on Diego Yepez. Alex Gray might have been involved, and these were the 2 that I saw kind of snap loose and start the wreck. The 97 of Zach Winkle went up into the outside wall, and the 75 of Steve Morgan snapped down towards the inside of the racetrack. As Brock brings his car to pit road, Flickinger already there, and we may actually, no, those are the only 2 cars on pit road. I didn't know if anybody had already taken their car behind the wall, but that is not the case. So Isaac Nicholls leads us under our first caution of the day. Let's go back and take a look at the replay of what happened. Best camera to use at this particular racetrack is the helicopter camera. Oh, and there's the contact right there. The 21 of Nathan Stapleton up into Zach Winkle, and I believe then the 21 clips Alex Gray, who then comes down into Steve Morgan. So a lot of chain reaction right there. Winkle's going to get the car straightened out and continue on. That was a nice save on the part of the 97. Now watch right here. There's contact with William Brock in the 30. That sends him up into Zach Flickinger, and then there's nowhere for the 1 of Diego Yepez to go. Flickinger with a pretty hard lick there. And look at the 28 of Dallas McIntosh. Boy, he was up on that high side, and he had to make sure he got low enough to avoid. That was a nice piece of driving to keep his championship hopes alive by Dallas McIntosh. But Flickinger, who had back-to-back wins this season. Diego Yepez, a former winner this year. Alex Gray there in the 90, another former winner this season. He got recently eliminated from the playoffs last week at Talladega. All getting collected up and involved in this one, along with another former winner this season in Steve Morgan. And that's what put us under the caution for the first time here today. Let's go back now for the restart. Well, when the green flag comes back out, we will have passed the halfway point of this race, and it will give us 6 laps remaining here in today's season finale. 2 drivers will not be making it back for the restart. William Brock and Z Flickinger both taking their cars behind the wall. I Nicholls restarts as the leader. Second place, Kyle Keith. Let's find out where your 4 playoff contenders are restarting. Eli Bright will be 3rd. 4th place, Zach Rogers. Brenna Carmichael in 15th, and Dallas McIntosh is currently scored in 31st. So didn't make up a whole lot of ground there on those first 2 laps, did the 28, but now with it being a single file restart, might be a little bit easier for that 28 to get to the bottom and start making some strides up towards the front of the field. Also be interesting to see how long it takes for these drivers to get back to 3 wide and 4 wide racing. I mean, they were double wide at the start, and I think they got 4 wide by the time they got down into turn number 1. So don't expect that the level of anticipation and the level of aggressiveness is by any means going to be going down just because we've had the benefit of this caution flag for drivers to kind of settle for a moment. Another thing I should point out as well is I'm almost certain that this is going to be one of the few rare races where fuel strategy will not be a factor in the outcome of this race. I'm almost certain of that. I'm pretty sure they can make it 12 laps on 1 tank of fuel, but then again, I've been surprised. So this is me saying I'm pretty certain, and you watch just about every race I've said I'm pretty certain they're going to be able to make it on fuel. They always have to pit, so we'll have to wait and see. Regardless, I Nicholls comes into this race at the 30th position in points. It's not been a very good season for the 12 team, not one they're really going to want to remember. Only 1 top 5, 4 top 10s, average finish of 22nd place. We do have a pole this season, but aside from that, not a whole lot of good luck has come the way of the 12 team, so obviously they're looking for a good run here. Right behind him, you got Kyle Keith. He's 23rd in the point standings. He's had 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s, average finish of about 21st place. So there's still a number of drivers here that still want to finish out the season as best they can. Got A Garcia lined up there in 5th place. He finished runner-up to teammate Zach Rogers back at Pigs Creek in a Hendrick Motorsports 1-2 finish. Dylan Young, we've already mentioned him. Jonathan Zoerlein, Charles Sandfer, Johnny Gardner. So many names of drivers that are yet to find victory lane this season, and they want to be able to do it here in the finale as the green flag's back in the air. We've got 6 laps to go here at Joltis. Dylan Young was the one to step out of line. Charles Sandfer's going to go up top with him. Meanwhile, the battle for the championship right now going on between the 8 and the 24. And Bright moves up top side, trying to get around Kyle Keith. He left the door open. Zach Rogers is going to take the opportunity, and he's going to move into 3rd place. Right now, he would hold the championship if the race were to end right now. Also, if Rogers can get up to the front, lead a lap, that's a bonus point he would have in the bank over the other 3 championship competitors. I Nicholls trying to hold him off as Jonathan Zoerlein down there on the bottom of the racetrack, 2 tires below the apron, or below the yellow line rather, on the apron. And here comes Rogers, looking for the top position. He wants to lead this lap. Now, if Rogers leads this lap, then any other competitors that are fighting with him for the championship would have to finish 2 positions ahead of the 24, and Rogers did indeed lead that lap. So now, anybody from Bright and Carmichael and McIntosh need to finish 2 positions ahead of Rogers to counter that lap lead. Kyle Keith back to the bottom of the racetrack, and he's bringing Eli Bright along with him. Now Eli Bright would love to be able to lead a lap to counter the lap led by the 24. If he's able to, then it would be between the 24 and the 8 who could finish within 1 position of each other. Noticing the 28 Dallas McIntosh back there, I thought he'd have an opportunity to get to the bottom of the racetrack. He really hasn't taken and made the most of that. He's still at the tail end of this field and not making much forward progress. What a save save by Ryan Brommer in the 40. I think there was contact between him and Michael Norman, and somehow his car was sideways and he saved it on the apron. That was a heck of a save by Ryan Brommer. Kyle Keith back to the race lead, so the 8 car will not lead this lap. Rogers still with that lap-led bonus point in the bank. Ooh, 1 car down way on the apron. That was Dylan Young. Right now, Eli Bright is more than 2 positions ahead of Zach Rogers, which means currently he would have the championship if the race were to end right now. But both he and the 24 are up on that outside line, and look who's on the inside line making strides. The 73 of Brenna Carmichael is fighting his way towards the front now, with help from the 94 of Justin Zajdel. I know we've got this great battle up front between Nicholls, Gardner, and Kyle Keith going on. However, there is a championship also on the line, and that seems to be where we should have our main focus. Rogers now to the inside of Bright. Brenna Carmichael crowding Preston Plourd down there on the apron. That's a little tight there for the 73 up near the front of the field. Joshua Ciculli now moves up to second. First time today we've talked about the Lowe's Chevrolet. As Carmichael side by side right now with Zach Rogers, trying to get at least 2 positions ahead of the 24, who now finds his way back down to the inside line. Still looking to see, there's the 28 back there. He's starting to fight his way up here. He's on the inside line. Will we see him in the closing stages? Look at the 73, the 24, and the 18. 2 tires down the apron, and they all almost lost it off that corner. Eli Bright caught way up on the top side now. That's not good for him. Side by side right now between the 24 and the 73. They're the 2 top running contenders. And Rogers just got turned by Carmichael. No caution. We're still green as Rogers got spun. Look out. Oh, and there they go. Oh, big wreck. Carmichael's involved. Preston Plourd is involved. More drivers in it. LaPlante, Stapleton. I think maybe Eli Bright was able to get through it. Yes, he was. And we're coming to more than likely the caution that will end the race. Eli Bright got through it. McIntosh is back a ways. And coming to the caution, it's Isaac Nicholls out in front. He will probably win this race. Eli Bright crossed in 8th. He's going to more than likely be the champion. Are you kidding me? It was contact between 2 playoff drivers, Carmichael and Rogers, that's going to cause the wreck and put us under the yellow to more than likely end this race. Rogers got spun. They didn't throw the caution for his spin, and then I think it was the 18 of Preston Plourd tried saving it, brought it back up the racetrack, collected the 73 of Carmichael, and that was the wreck that brought the yellow flag out. Rogers is still running. There's the 75 of Steve Morgan. Not sure why he's so far back. Oh, there's Carmichael. That car was either Carmichael or maybe Preston Plourd. Somebody went up in the catch fence. I can't believe that 73 is even still running to be able to get back to pit road. There's the 94 of Justin Zajdel. He might have been the one that Plourd came up in front of. I'm not certain. There's Preston Plourd as well as Alexander Rowe. They're both on pit lane. Nathan Stapleton, Austin LaPlante, Alex Gray. The 50 and the 21 I know were involved in a follow-up wreck after the initial big wreck, which sent someone into the catch fence. And when we hit the line this next time, it will be the white flag, and I'm pretty certain this race is going to end under the caution. And Eli Bright, barring any mechanical failures here on this last lap, looks like he's going to win the championship. But for now, let's take a look at a replay of what put us under the caution to finish out today's season finale. I mean, there's a championship on the line. It's 3 laps to go. Nobody's going to give an inch, and let's see where the initial contact begins here. On the inside line is Zach Rogers, and the line just to his outside is Brenna Carmichael. And where does the initial contact begin? Oh, it was the 94 of Justin Zajdel that triggered that wreck. Got into the left rear quarter panel of Carmichael. Now, Carmichael saves it. Rogers, though, goes spinning by himself, and Wow, what a save there by the 73, though. But Rogers spins. That did not bring out the caution. Now watch there. You see the 18 gets into the 94, and this is where the wreck's going to happen. They both go down onto the apron, and then they're going to come back up the racetrack. And I think the 94 made it up okay. I think he comes up in front of Shane Lake, and Lake was smart enough to get on the brake to, not get run over. But then right here, he's not ready for the 18 of Plourd. Plourd going to go up and not only take out Carmichael, but also clip the 94 of Zajdel again. And it was indeed the 18 that went up into the catch fence. And you see right there, I think that's the 50 of Austin LaPlante getting involved right there also. Then he's going to go down in front of Alex Gray, gets clobbered from behind, and nowhere for the 21 of Nathan Stapleton to go either as he piles into that one. Let's take another camera view. Should be a pretty good shot right here of the wild ride that the 18 took. Yeah, watch right here. I mean, what is Shane Lake to do? 18 comes back up the track right in front of him, takes the entire front end off the STP Pontiac. And watch the impact here. Oh my, oh wow. All four cars, the impact so heavy they all went upside down. Preston up in the catch fence, and there you see the 50 get clobbered by the 90, and then there's the 21 also getting collected up in it. And I believe that Eli Bright was ahead of that wreck, and Dallas McIntosh managed to race his way through it. But being ahead of the wreck was where Eli Bright needed to be in order to take this championship. Let's go back now for the checkers. We've had the white flag displayed. We're heading down here into the final few corners of this racetrack. Isaac Nicholls had one of the strongest cars of the day, no doubt about that, and was out in front when it mattered most. He was out in front when we had our first caution and out in front when we had our last caution. And as a result, he will win this race under yellow. Johnny Gardner will be second, third, Ace Garcia, fourth, Dylan Young, fifth, Angel Navarro, sixth, Joshua Ciculli, seventh, Emmanuel Hartnett, and finishing eighth to take the championship will be Eli Bright. The only other driver that made it through that wreck was Dallas McIntosh. Managed to fight his way up to 19th, but that won't be enough for him to take the championship trophy here today. As they come down to the start-finish line, Isaac Nicholls will get his first win of the season here at Joltis, and Eli Bright crosses the line. He is your Season 1 NRSL Winston SuperSpeedway Series champion. McIntosh will more than likely be second in the championship standings, followed by Zach Rogers, who did manage to make it to the start-finish line. Didn't get any damage from that spin, which triggered the big wreck. And Brenna Carmichael will finish out the season fourth in the championship standings. Standings should be official now as far as your results, and indeed they are. Went down to Eli Bright, JT Bryant, and Kyle Keith will complete your top 10, followed by last week's winner Phil Parker in 11th, Joseph Srigley in 12th, Ryan Brommer, after that tremendous save we saw him have, gets 13th, 14th for Michael Norman, and 15th was Charles Sanford. Dallas McIntosh officially finishes the day out in the 19th position. Looked like he was making strides towards the front, just did not need that caution to kill his momentum. Zach Rogers finishes in the 28th position after that spin, and Brenna Carmichael was not able to finish the race, finishing behind the wall in the 34th position, joining the likes of Justin Zajdel, Alexander Rowe, Preston Plourd, Shane Lake, Nathan Stapleton, Austin LaPlante, Alex Gray, William Brock, and Zach Flickinger. Well, what a season it has been, and boy, what a finale as well. Eli Bright with the championship, and another NRSL season comes to a close. Hope you guys enjoyed today's race, this finale, and this season. If you did, be sure to give us a like, subscribe to become part of the crew today. Also, be sure to follow the NRSL and all the series that are done by NRSL members. And up next, series that you guys have all been waiting for. It's the return. Season 2, Tax Layer Truck Series. Season 4, Pizza Hut X Series. And Season 6, Hershey's Cup Series, NSRA action is coming back. So, till then, I've been Seth Cole. You've been watching a production of the NSRA, offline racing at its best.